Akuma, and I will teach you the meaning of pain.
Akuma made his debut in Street Fighter II Turbo, and let's be real, he's been wrecking opponents ever since. As Goken's younger brother, he brings some serious power to the Street Fighter universe. The franchise itself is one of the biggest in gaming, so it's no surprise that its characters are absolute legends. Ryu and Ken have their die-hard fans, but Akuma? He's on another level. He was added because the devs wanted a total powerhouse, and many consider him the most overpowered fighting game character ever. His SSF2 Turbo boss fight? Easily one of the most unforgettable moments in gaming. Today, we're diving deep into what makes Akuma such a beast, his backstory, his fighting style, and everything else. If you're a Street Fighter fan, this is gonna be a fun one. Before we get into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but it means a lot to us. Thank you. Let's begin. Who is Akuma? Akuma and Goken were Gotetsu's disciples, and were taught a powerful and nameless martial art technique that combined elements from Judo, Kempo, and Karate. Gotetsu also taught them the Shungoku Satsu, which literally translates to instant hell murder. While this legendary move was extremely lethal, it required a considerable amount of strength to perform and often endangered the user. Both brothers were initially quite receptive to the training, but Goken was not able to come to terms with the overwhelmingly violent nature of the fighting style and the Satsui no Hado. A dispute arose, and he left Gotetsu's tutelage to open his own dojo, and the latter didn't object to this. Akuma was left under Gotetsu and promised to execute the fighting style the way it was originally intended. Slowly, he began to embrace the principle of Satsui no Hado and began giving up empathy toward other people in order to learn and truly master the Shungoku Satsu. Akuma also understood that his limits as a martial artist could be further stretched, so he also left Gotetsu's guidance to become stronger on his own. By this time, however, he was successful in embracing the Satsui no Hado completely, which left him to develop a frenzied lust to fight to the death. Gotetsu's nature was starkly opposite to this, since he had honed the skill to use the Satsui no Hado while not giving in to his dark side. Akuma returned from the island and immediately challenged his former master to a fight to the death, in order to prove that he had surpassed Gotetsu. He used Shungoku Satsu and killed Gotetsu, who died a happy death, knowing that Akuma had become stronger than him. Believing that he was the true master of the art, Akuma retrieved prayer beads from the dead Gotetsu and placed them on his own neck as a reward. Goken happened to arrive to see how his former master was doing, but was met with Gotetsu's corpse and his younger brother, who was now no longer human. This shocked him to his core, and he berated Akuma thoroughly for having killed their teacher. A long time after this, Akuma and Goken fought each other while the young Ryu and Ken watched them. Akuma believed that Goken was not strong enough to challenge him without giving in to the intent to kill. However, Goken said there was more to martial arts than mindless killing and destruction. He also accused Akuma of dishonoring Gotetsu. Akuma retorted that their master was not able to fully grasp the art, and was quite the fool to have not embraced Satsui no Hado in its totality. In the course of the fight, Goken won. Akuma wanted his brother to kill him, but Goken didn't want this. As a result, Akuma declared him to be a weak man, as he let a strong opponent live. He also vowed to come back stronger and exact his revenge. True to his word, Akuma returned to Goken's dojo after some years and again challenged him. This time, he used the Shungoku Satsu and believed Goken was dead from its impact. However, Goken had survived by emptying his soul, which left him in a comatose state. Ken arrived at the dojo to find him seemingly dead and fought Akuma in the woods. He was easily defeated and Akuma disappeared. What drives Akuma's personality and mindset? Akuma is extremely powerful with a cold personality. His only aim is to hone and polish his fighting skills, which he does by battling strong opponents. He appears to be aloof and rarely shows any signs of emotion except occasional anger. Despite being hungry for power, he does not engage with helpless people. In fact, he sometimes comes to their defense, either because he feels it's the right thing to do, or after defeating a major opponent. He respects Kazumi Mishima immensely and has only ever displayed his humanity when it comes to her. He mainly lives away from the land and doesn't interact with society much. If he's not training in martial arts, he fishes. This is something he takes a lot of pride in, as he considers fishing a battle of life and death. He lives off wild animals and plants, and if he needs money, he sells fruit. Street Fighter VI revealed his character story as a wood artisan who makes statues to honor his opponents. In a special ending artwork, he's also shown to be sewing his own gi. His training methods are ruthless, and he doesn't take kindly to anyone interrupting. He likes to fight worthy rivals to gauge how powerful he's become. In some of the later games, Akuma calls himself a denizen of hell and evil incarnate, which could point to the Satsui no Hado taking over his mind. Akuma believes in the principle of self-worth, which is quite in tune with martial arts philosophy. He utterly hates hubris, foolish behavior, and people who rely on means other than using their fists to gain power or fight others. Some fans also believe he's nihilistic to an extent, as he actively looks around for opponents worthy enough to defeat and kill him. He has to admit that he knows the path of embracing Satsui no Hado can destroy him, but it's a chance he's willing to take in exchange for being the strongest. Akuma has a lot of hostility toward Goken for not accepting Satsui no Hado, since he believes that it's the correct way of pursuing their art. He also blames Goken for having sealed the darkness within Ryu, which doesn't allow him to access his true potential. Akuma had planned to duel with Ryu, but gave up on it because of this, as he believes only someone who follows Satsui no Hado can actually defeat him. While he can be amoral at times, he still believes there are standards to use and handle powers like Satsui no Hado. It's because of this that he doesn't favor soulless beings such as Kage. What is Satsui no Hado, and how does it define Akuma? Satsui no Hado is a dark energy-based force. It's a power rooted in the darker instincts of humans, which deals with survival, often at the cost of others, trampling and destroying the opposition, and the desire to destroy. People who harness this become strong beyond comparison, but it leads to the loss of humanity and compassion. This leads to a dark desire to fight and beat others, which can even be suicidal at times. This skill is the first step toward learning the Shungoku Satsu, the most fatal martial arts move. Most fans consider Akuma to be a typical anti-villain. He's extremely cold and heartless, having trained relentlessly in Satsui no Hado. But as mentioned, he still upholds and abides by the code of the warrior. He fights and trains to defeat powerful opponents and test his own abilities. Unlike M. Bison or Evil Ryu, he doesn't harm the defenseless. He did kill his master and believes that he killed his brother too, but he technically did that within the boundaries of combat. Hence, they cannot be termed cold-blooded murders. So Akuma is well within his principles. In combat, Akuma does not always use his true strength, especially if he's simply testing their abilities. He only fights with everything when it comes to warriors he believes are worthy or have the potential to become so. For example, he fought Ryu to understand the latter's strengths, and faced Oro to gauge where he himself stands. Since he fights honorably, he doesn't resort to backhanded techniques. However, he does deliver unexpected sneak attacks on unprepared opponents, especially when they don't fight honorably. The evil nature of the Satsui no Hado may have corrupted Akuma, but he still has some morality, when compared with Bison, who is a much more despicable form of evil. That being said, his win quotes in Third Strike reflect the possibility that the hold of Satsui no Hado on Akuma has increased substantially, making him more bloodthirsty with lesser regard for moral codes. How powerful is Akuma? Akuma has mastered the original form of the unnamed Shotokan art, and his fighting style is more offense-oriented than other characters in the game. Some of his moves are similar to those used by Ryu and Ken, but what stands out for Akuma is his focus on completely decimating the opponent while preventing counterattacks. His raw power and mobility allow him to maintain an offensive stance that can end fights pretty fast. That being said, his power is offset by low stamina and stun, so any defensive opening can turn the tables against him. In the story, it's claimed that Akuma intentionally holds back his power to enjoy the fight, handicapping himself in the process. In the titles before Street Fighter III and his 3D appearances, Akuma is sometimes hindered by his subpar physical range, much like Ryu and Ken, and this forces him to zone more with his projectiles. Akuma has an arsenal of impressive techniques as well. His Go Hadoken can be used mid-air. His Tatsumaki Zanku Kyaku can be used to floor the opponent completely. He can use his Go Shoryuken to floor the opponent using a single hit. Since he practices Satsui no Hado, he has some special moves that Ryu and Ken do not. He can use the Ashura Senku for teleportation almost at will, and the Tenma Kujin Kyaku is a quick downward kick he uses at the peak of his jumps. His flip attack, Hyakishu, allows him to either attack or grab an opponent while facing forward. In the Alpha games, he possesses the Zenpo Tenshin, which lets him hop and roll forward a short distance. In Super Gem Fighter Mini-Mix, Akuma retains all his signature moves. In addition, his Go Hadoken and Tatsumaki Zenku Kyaku are poisonous, while the Shakunetsu Hadoken can petrify opponents if they get hit with it. The combined techniques of Shungoku Satsu, Tenma Gozanku, Mesatsu Go Hado, and his Mesatsu Go Shoryu serve as mighty combos, which he also has the most of. In Street Fighter V, he gains more techniques and his battle style becomes much more brutal. He has a V-skill known as Rakan, which he uses to strike a defensive stance. This is similar to Ryu's Mind Eye, which parries an incoming attack. Akuma can also cook up a deadly combo using an ability that's similar to Mesatsu Go Shoryu and his Misogi. Using this ability, he can unleash his Raging Demon during his critical art. When he appears in Tekken Mobile, his main combo launcher is Tenma Kujin Kyaku. This is because his Go Hadoken, Go Shoryuken, Shakunetsu Hadoken, Zanku Hadoken, Tatsumaki Zanku Kyaku, Mesatsu Go Hado, and Mesatsu Go Shoryu are available as special Waza cards. In 3-star and 4-star appearances, he gains the Wrath of the Raging Demon Ultra combo as part of his Rage art. Street Fighter VI shows some modifications to Akuma, when Adamant Flame and Oboro Throw were added to his techniques. However, this causes Shakunetsu Hadoken to become part of Go Hadoken, and Ashura Senku becomes more susceptible. What are Akuma's most devastating moves? The super combos of Akuma are introduced in the Alpha series, and they consist of a high-powered Go Hadoken, an energized Zanku Hadoken, a Shoryuken-based move, which is similar to Kin Shoryu Reppa, as well as an upward spiraling Tatsumaki. His most popular super combo is the Shungokusatsu. Street Fighter III Third Strike introduces the Kongo Kokuretsuzan, hitting the ground hard to generate waves and lightning, and Misogi, a homing teleport move. He's the only character to have more than 3 super arts, with 3 of them usable in a match. Other than Gil, Akuma is also the only character in the series without any EX specials. The Wrath of the Raging Demon is his ultra combo in Street Fighter IV. In Street Fighter IV, his second ultra combo is a very powerful Tatsumaki-based technique called Demon Armageddon. He also has 2 super arts in Street Fighter X Tekken, and in Street Fighter V, he gets a new move called Sekiya Kuretsuha as his critical art. With Dohatsu Shoten active, the Raging Demon can be activated. In Street Fighter VI, Mesatsu Gohado is his level 1 super art, while level 2 is Empyrean's End. Level 3 is Sip of Calamity, while the second critical art is Shungokusatsu. Has Akuma ever been defeated? As mentioned already, Akuma faced Gotetsu, and was able to kill him. He was also able to subdue Goken. Although he didn't kill him, he also defeated M. Bison. During his fight with an elderly man named Gen, Akuma, in his non-canon ending, is able to defeat him, and seeing that Gen is unworthy, he lets him be. In Gen's canon ending, however, he was able to narrowly defeat Akuma and also spared him. Akuma then gets obsessed with Ryu and tries to awaken the Satsu no Hado within him. When they fight, Ryu initially gets the upper hand, but this was simply because Akuma was not fighting at his top capacity. The battle ends with no decisive winner since Akuma is not ready to fight Ryu without him embracing Satsui no Hado. Akuma then fights with and kills a Muay Thai fighter who was trying to challenge Adon, and later fights Adon himself. However, having defeated him easily, he lets Adon live, deeming him to be unworthy. Akuma also fought a second battle with Gen, the results of which are not known. As such, defeating Akuma is one hell of a job. He's defeated almost every opponent he's come across. What is Shin Akuma and how is he different? Shin Akuma is the form Akuma takes when he becomes almost one with the Satsui no Hado. While it doesn't take him over completely and he does retain some humanity, it allows him to become far more powerful than usual. In Street Fighter Alpha 2, Shin Akuma has red hair and a violet gi instead of black, while the later incarnations show him wearing a dark purple gi with white hair and darker skin. In Street Fighter 3 Second Impact, his gi becomes dark gray while his eyes become yellow. The nostalgia costume is used in Street Fighter V Arcade Edition. White hair, red aura instead of purple, and reddish skin tone. In Ultra Street Fighter II, the final challengers, his gi is dark cyan colored, and he sports orange hair with dark skin that has a purple glow. Shin Akuma's appearance remains the same in Tekken 7, except his Satsui no Hado aura becomes very prominent. As such, his personality does not change too much. He simply uses his powers to the fullest. That being said, due to the enhanced effects of the Satsui no Hado, he becomes merciless and very competitive, particularly if facing a strong opponent. He only fights in his Shin Akuma form if he thinks the opponent is worthy. Otherwise, he holds back his true abilities. How does Akuma fit into the Tekken universe? In the trailer of Tekken 7, Akuma is asked by Kazumi Mishima to kill her estranged husband Heihachi and her son Kazuya. It's later revealed that she has attacked her husband in her devil form while recovering from a fever. Akuma is indebted to her as she was responsible for saving him for reasons unknown. After he claimed the Mishima Zaibatsu, Heihachi is challenged by Akuma, but their fight is interrupted by a Jack 6 army sent by Kazuya. To defeat the robots, the pair join hands temporarily. After this, Akuma reveals to Heihachi that his wife asked him to kill Heihachi, and Akuma has been waiting for so long that Heihachi can become stronger. He seemingly kills Heihachi and destroys the Mishima dojo. Once this is done, Akuma goes to the top of the G Corporation tower to kill Kazuya, but amidst their fight, the latter turns into a devil. Heihachi appears once again, having faked his death earlier, and destroys the tower. Later, Kazuya kills Heihachi and is confronted by Akuma again. He turns into a devil once more, and the fight between them is tense, with no apparent winner. In the arcade mode of Tekken 7, Fated Retribution, Akuma is the secret final boss instead of Kazumi. After being defeated by the player, his Satsui no Hado gets out of control, making him glow with a purple hue. He then unleashes his power in a flash of light just before the credits start to roll. What is Oni and how does it change Akuma? Oni is the form Akuma takes when he becomes one with the Satsui no Hado and loses all his humanity. Oni are essentially demons affiliated with lightning in Shinto mythology. They had large fans and horns. The visual design of Oni Akuma has been inspired by the Buddhist Kongo Rikishi and beings such as Fujin and Naijin. Oni refers to himself as both a deity and a fierce demon. The developers call Oni Akuma beyond Shin Akuma. His Oni form is not just a possibility, it's his actual fate. The Oni form is more muscular and comparatively larger than Akuma's actual appearance, with glowing yellow-red eyes, dark blue skin and fangs, protrusions on his forehead, and spiky shoulder-length hair. The dark ki he emanates has torn away the top of his gi and his prayer beads are disconnected from his body. His hands and feet have claws, and the voice he lets out is more demonic sounding. Oni has a deep blue aura. During the execution of powerful attacks, the limbs of Oni transform into a superheated color. In his alternate costume, his skin develops cracks, showing swirling dark energy underneath. Interestingly, most characters do not recognize Oni as a form of Akuma, and he himself does not either. Oni, however, recognizes Akuma as his former self. Unlike Akuma, Oni has no shred of humanity in him and no moral code either. He will fight to the death regardless of the strength of the opponent. Certain characters even call him a god in their win quotes. Oni also speaks in the third person more frequently, and retains Akuma's hostility toward M. Bison and Seth. He also enjoys seeing Ryu give in to his Satsui no Hado.
I am Akuma, and I will teach you the meaning of pain.
Has Akuma ever been in a team or alliance? Akuma is not exactly a social fellow by any means. While he is not outright hostile to everyone, he maintains a firm distance and usually does not ally with people. He shares neutral to somewhat friendly relations with some people, however, such as Elena. Gotetsu was also a neutral opponent to Akuma. While the latter killed him, he still had respect in his heart for Gotetsu. The master himself was happy to see his students surpass him and seemingly died without regret. As mentioned earlier, Kazumi Mishima had once saved Akuma from an unknown circumstance. In return, Akuma had agreed to carry out her wishes and kill Heihachi and Kazuya. His interaction with her was the only instance where he revealed his humanity. Where does Akuma go after his battles? Akuma prefers to remain isolated and train while he's not fighting. He meditates by carving wooden idols. Akuma's personality and very being were shaped by every battle he fought. Just like every hit of the Chosen transforms formless wood into a particular structure. He also continues to look for opponents to fight, to check his own skills, as well as fuel his desire to become the strongest. How is Akuma different from Kin and Ryu? Fans believe that Ryu is usually slower than Kin and control the pace of the battle better. Kin has the tools that allow him to be more offensive. He overwhelms his opponents with many combos and setups, while Ryu deals big damage with fewer hits. Add them both together and you get Akuma, who can either be slow and methodical or lightning fast and impulsive. As such, Akuma cannot be objectively called better or worse than Ryu or Kin. Akuma can be used by experienced players who can use his strength without being too worried about his low health. Akuma has more options than the pair, with Fireball, Demon Flip, and other air tools being standouts. Why is Akuma called Goki in Japan? Some fans believe that Akuma's name Goki comes from the fact that his brother is named Goken, so it could be a theme in the family. However, the more likely explanation is that the developers thought Goki would not be an easy pronunciation for non-Japanese speakers, so they named him Akuma. One of the characters in the word Goki is Oni, which translates to demon in English. So the developers probably used Akuma, which also means evil or demon for English audiences. Marvelous verdict. There you go, folks. Akuma is a force of nature in every way, without even using his other forms like Shin or Oni. But if he does use one of them, the opponent is more likely to get burnt to a crisp. Where do you think Ryu and Kin stand when compared to Akuma? Let us know in the comments below and stay tuned, because we'll be back soon with another marvelous video. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.